Hi, my name is John. One of my comments that I had from one of my previous YouTube videos using the diamond method, which is kind of like doing the diamond method right over here, was a question because one of the students actually didn't understand the diamond method. The intuition is not quite there. And after about 3 or 4 years of contemplation about the diamond method, I decided to use the traditional method. So when we learn the traditional method, I like the traditional method because it's tested and proven. So we're going to teach you a little bit easier way how to use the traditional method. It's actually the 4-step that I'm going to teach you, and it's going to be pretty simple. So let's do the steps first. This is step 1 right there. Okay, it's pretty simple. Put in your two sets of parentheses, and that's very easy. Step 2 is you're going to put in your first factors right over here. Hope you can see that. Step 2 is also very easy. I'm going to rewrite this again. Very easy. Step 3 is a little bit more difficult. You put in your signs right over there. It's going to be either plus, 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 minus, 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 or minus, plus. We don't know which one yet. And then step 4, it's going to be green. It's going to be your last factors. I'm going to put circles on these. And that's step 4. Step 4 is put in your last factors and check your oil in your foil. You got to check your oil in your foil. If you don't check your oil in your car breaks up, it explodes. Not necessarily, but it can explode. If you don't check your oil, just you're dead. So check your oil in your foil, especially the outer and the inner, and also your last. If you don't do this last part right here and spend about maybe 10 seconds checking your oil in your foil, you will definitely not do so well, and you won't improve as much. So don't forget to check your oil in your foil. So let's start our problem right away, okay? I made 4 examples for you. Example 1, it's x squared minus x minus 6. Step 1, there it is, so easy. Step 2, what is the factors of x squared? That's x and x. That's also pretty easy. Step 3 now, do your signs. Your signs, since I put orange, it's going to be dependent upon this. If this is negative, that means one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Of course, conversely, if this is positive, then they're both going to be positive. If this is positive, then they're both going to be positive, or they're both going to be negative. So you got to remember that. If you check your oil, you'll automatically see this happening. Okay? So one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. I used orange, so I used orange here. One's going to be positive, I don't know which one, and one's going to be negative. And step 4 is green, so step 4 right there. The factors of 6, I'm actually going to write down. It's 6 times 1, 3 times 2. These are the only factors. And which one is going to be? If I put the 6 in the 1 somewhere here, it's going to be like minus 6x plus x. If you can work that out really fast, check your OI, especially your outer and your inner. That should come out minus x. It doesn't quite happen, so let's try 3 and 2. Let's check our oil. Our first is x times x is x squared. Outer and the inner, minus 3x, plus 2x is minus x. There you go. We should get the middle term right there, or the linear term. And if the signs are changed, you just have to change the signs. So if it comes out to be a plus 6, then you just have to change the signs on these. And then L, the last is plus 2 times minus 3 is going to be minus 6. We checked our oil in our foil, and that's our answer. I'm going to box this, okay? So that's example number 1. Example number 2, it's a little bit easier. I'm going to write this out for you. Example 2, x squared plus 8x plus 12, okay? Our first step, boom, 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 boom. That's step 1. Step 2, says put in your factors for x squared. It's going to be x and x. This sign tells you they're both going to be the same sign right over here. And this tells you they're both going to be positive. If this is minus right over here, then it's both going to be minus. So from this sign, we know they're both going to be same sign, and it's going to be positive. And the factors of 12, 1 times 6, 2 times 6, 1 times 12, 3 times 4. What will give me an 8x? It's probably not going to be this or this. Let's try 2 and 6. We don't care where the 2 and 6 goes, but all we have to do is check our oil. First is x squared, outer is 6x, inner is 2x, you get 8x right there. And then plus 2 times 6 is plus 12. So check your oil and your foil. We checked our oil, worked out fine, and that's our final answer. Example 3, you have 2x squared minus x minus 10. It's a little bit more difficult. Do the same thing, step 1. Step 2, the factors of 2x squared is going to be x, 2x and x. And this is step 3 is going to be a little bit more difficult. It's going to be the, I'm going to use a little bit lighter pen. It's going to be a plus or a minus right there. We know that it's going to be a positive or negative because of the sign. It's going to be minus, which means one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. The factors of 10 is 10 times 1, 5 times 2. Let's try to work it out. If I put 5 here and I get minus 10x, so that's quite not going to work because of plus 2x. So minus 10x plus 2x, that's not quite going to work. So I'm probably going to put 5 and 2 here. I could try the 10 and 1. Step 4 is the hardest part on this one, checking your oil and your foil. Okay, that's minus 4x plus 5x. That's going to be plus x. So I just have to change the sign. There we have it. Let's do it again. It's going to be 2x times x. It's going to be 2x squared plus 4x minus 5x. I'm going to write it down. That's going to be 2x times 2, 4x minus 5 times x minus 5x. You end up with your outer and your inner, which is minus x. And that's going to be your linear or your middle term. That works. And then L minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. So there you have it. It worked. I have students that are in the 11th grade still, 12th grade, still using the diamond and the box method for calculus. I try to have the students wean away from this. They teach this at a lot of middle school now, and then they get into 9th grade, and most teachers, some teachers still use the diamond method, most teachers don't. I like to wean the students out of the diamond method. It's a little bit complicated. You have to remember a lot of things. The intuition is not quite there. So that's kind of the reason why I don't like to use the diamond anymore, because I teach only high school students. Example 4. I made this problem up myself at 8x squared plus 4x minus 24. Now you have a problem. The problem is we can't start step 1. So I'm going to create another step. It's called step 0. It's factor out. Always to step 0 first before you start. What can we factor out between 8x squared, 4x, and 24? We can factor out a 4. If I put 4 parentheses, that means factoring out a 4 right there. Okay, got it? So we must factor, 4 goes into here, here, and here. 4 times what is 8x squared? 2x squared. 4 times what is 4x? Plus x. 4 times what is minus 24? Minus 6. If you're not sure, just distribute these. That's 8x squared right there. Plus 4x right there. 4 times negative 6 is minus 24. And the next step we're going to do, now we can, since it's a trinomial with a degree of 2, we should be able to factor this. So put down the 4. That's step 1, so easy. Step 2, 2x and x. Step 3, one's going to be a minus, one's going to be a plus. I'm not quite sure which one goes where because of this coefficient. And the factors of 6 is 6 times 1, 3 times 2. Always write these out on the side so you know which factors goes where. And then let's say 6 and 1. I know you guys kind of can't see that. 1 and then 6. Okay, that's minus 12x plus x, not quite x, so it's going to be probably 6 and 1 minus 6x. I'm sorry, minus 1x and plus 6, not quite there yet. So we eliminated that. It's going to be 3 and 2. Look at the 2 right there. And if we multiply this by 2, that's minus 4x. And then 3 is going to be plus 3x, minus 4x, plus 3x. It's going to be minus x, so we just have to change the sign. Takes a little bit of skill, but you have to learn to check your oil. So let's check our oil one more time. First is 2x squared. Outer is plus 4x. Up. Which one's the minus and the plus? Plus 4x minus 3x. This should be a minus right there. Okay? So let's rewrite it really nice and easy. 4 parentheses 2x minus 3, and then x plus 2. Let's box our answer. But we haven't really checked it yet. So 2x squared, 2x times x is 2x squared. There it is. And then plus 4x minus 3x. 4x minus 3x is plus x. And then minus 6. Notice that the minus and the plus, when you multiply, it becomes minus right there. Okay? So it takes a little bit of practice and persistence, but if you work on it, it's great. You'll do a lot well. I coined this myself. Step 4, check your oil in your foil. Let's recap what we just did, okay? First step, step 1 is putting in your parentheses, so easy. Step 2, putting in your first factors, very easy. Step 3 is the hard part, a little bit difficult part. Look at the signs. Is this negative or positive? If it's positive, they're both going to be the same signs. So put in your signs. If it's minus, then one's going to be plus and one's going to be minus. Okay? And then fourth step is the more difficult part because you actually have to check your oil in your foil. And with a little bit of practice, you'll be doing a lot of factoring in high school. Algebra 2, geometry, trigonometry, and definitely a lot of in calculus A, B, and BC, as well as pre-calculus. So make sure you get your oil in your foil down on your factoring and trinomial. One last point of note, don't forget on example number 4, there was a step 0 involved, which is always factor out anything possible. So if it's x cubed, x squared, x, you also have to factor out an x here. Okay? Step 0 is probably the most important step because of the fact that you want to factor out as many things as possible, or your life is going to be miserable when you do this. Okay? So take the initiative. Make sure you factor out anything possible. Since it's factorable by 4, take out the factor of 4. Thanks and good luck.